Now, of course, we're not the only organisation that assists people come and participate in the programme, but I'd just like to go through our early experience after the programme became law and we started talking about customers. How long did it take for the first client to come through the books?
Actually, the first, we've been talking to partners like yourselves for a couple of years now. In October, we obviously got the green light that the law had been enacted. It took us a couple of months to kind of get people interested, but very much everybody that was in the industry at the time. To actually, the biggest objection to begin with was that it's so simple. Why is it so simple?
There's got to be a catch, right?
Yes. You know, in comparison to all the other programs out there, it just looked too simple. Fortunately, the Portuguese government, in all of its, at every opportunity that it had, it promoted the program. So all the departments that had anything to do with an international audience had the program up on their site. They were very quick to get it down to local level. To be fair, most consulates around the world, most trade missions around the world didn't actually understand the program, but they got the concept. So they couldn't really help clients with how do they go about doing the process, but they knew of it. It was very positively received at that level. And also the fact that the Portuguese made it law. That gave people comfort. It wasn't a program which was out there as an incentive and which would disappear. It was written into the Portuguese law. The Portuguese government also does have a history of not repealing old laws, or laws are not retrospective in their application, which is something that the consulars around the world and the ambassadors or the embassies around the world are constantly reminding people, is that once you're in the program, the law is never retrospective. So we already started our first application actually in January. We started getting all the documentation.
What nationality was the client?
South African, interestingly enough. One of the first 3 applications done in Portugal was a South African gentleman, which we did the application for him. So yes, so we've got a whole series of renewals already going through as we are. Yeah.
How is the programme practically experienced today compared to what it was like during those first opening cases?
Yes, it's actually been a lot of fun because the first cases you got to the...
Well, you don't know what you're doing, right? Actually.
Exactly, nobody does. The lady behind the counter who's busy receiving your file it's her first application as well. So it was a learning experience for both. So we'd go along to submit the application, and together we would translate the law. You would have the law there with us, and we're like, what do they actually mean here?
So that I'm clear then. So there is a special division inside immigration in Lisbon that deals with these programs.
Exactly.
And so there's a dedicated team.
Yes.
And you're interfacing with that dedicated team on an ongoing basis.
That was a good decision on their part, that they immediately set up this department to take care of these applications. Because generally these, especially when it has to deal with immigration issues, generally they're not receptive to change as most departments are, most administrative departments are. They're not. This one was very well accepted. It was kind of that the country had come to a realization very quickly that we needed to do something different. Whatever we had done for the last 35 years wasn't going to solve today. So there was this attitude, a positive attitude towards these things. So it was great fun. You know, you would be out there and we would be, is this the right document? Is that the right document? Let's make sure that it's properly certified. This kind of thing. So we learned together. Yeah.
And you've been at the forefront of dealing with that immigration team, because there are few people that assist develop this program internationally and allow it to be successful through the good work of your offices, my offices, and other colleagues. The relationship you've got with that team, is it a good, close-knit, tight working relationship?
Excellent relationship, excellent. So, because we were one of the first, you develop a really good relationship with them. Again, because we were learning together. Some of the suggestions for the practical application of certain things was through our experience with them that they actually adjusted.
So how big is the team in immigration in numbers, would you say?
In numbers, they have a team of 4 handling primary applications, and then they have another team of 4 to 6 people handling specifically the regroupment. So just to explain, the family regroupment is a right which every resident in Portugal has, regardless of whether they came through this program or not. So there are other officials dealing with the standard family regrouping, specifically for the RE program or for the Golden Residence program. They have allocated 4 consultants that look specifically at the applications.
Yes, because I think it's probably a little bit alien to a lot of foreign nationals that are thinking about how their own immigration agencies or government bodies work. But because Portugal does have a small population, and it does have this program that's designed to attract foreign investment in the way that we're discussing, and that the team is relatively small, and they are located in one office in Lisbon. Actually, as an applicant, you're very close to the decision-making action.
A lot closer. You with inquiries, you're dealing with a person who is making the decision, so it makes it a lot easier. You're not going to a lower level, which has then got to communicate with a higher level. Also, besides that, also the approach of the government as one of the programs that they did come out with pre the crisis was the Simplex program. Fortunately, the Simplex program was a program designed to simplify Portuguese administration. Traditionally, Portuguese have always been known for having a very difficult bureaucracy to deal with. And administratively, they took this they applied this program, which effectively has meant is that the entire Portuguese administrative database is now electronically based. So everything, regardless of its title deeds, registry, birth certificates, marriage certificates, these kind of things, court actions, all of these things are now dealt on an electronic database. Fortunately, the Immigration Authority had already made that transition to this electronic database, which has meant that the process has been a lot simpler. Just to explain so that people can understand, we don't physically hand in originals over a counter. What we do is we scan them and we submit them electronically. They are approved. The electronic file is approved, and then once it's approved, we then go along and we present the originals, which has meant that the process goes through really, really quick.